So Dino Crisis 2, a game that steered away from the survival horror aspect of the first title and changed things up massively to become this fast-paced arcadey shooter. But even with the overall gameplay style change, it was still highly regarded as a top-rated game, being a title that mixed in what made Resident Evil amazing, but added a great spin to the formula, making this game an instant classic. Anyways, what is up you guys, this is DeVuH, and in this video we're going to be talking about Dino Crisis 2, where we cover why it was considered the best in the series to some fans, including me, and discuss the many aspects where it built on top of the great foundation that was laid by the first Dino Crisis, where we break down its gameplay and graphics, to the overall story and theme, and the many additions that changed its overall feel. Anyways, before we get started, please feel free to smash that like and subscribe button for more retrospective and analysis videos like this in the future. Alright, so let's start off with the premise of Dino Crisis 2, and how it correlated from the first entry in the series. So the story happens 1 year after the first game, now with the third energy data being researched heavily by a different government, trying to make use of this newfound tech. But of course, due to the haste of the government and researchers for results, it caused another catastrophe, where the research base and a nearby city was affected, now having a jungle from a different time in their proximity, leading the ravage of the dinosaurs on the people unfortunate enough to be part of this incident.
May 10th, 2010. I'm about to step through a gate into another time. Or maybe it's another world.
Which leaves Regina, our main heroine from the first game, coming back for another mission, trying to figure out what has happened to the survivors, being called on this mission due to her experience with the third energy incident from the first game. But this title has us now playing with two characters, where we get to control Dylan as well, a trapped soldier whose mission is to save any survivors on the island, as we have both characters make their journey into this new entry while they fight off the many dinosaurs in their way. Anyways, as we have the general premise covered, let's discuss the overall gameplay, UI, and the other aspects that they changed up to make this a fast-paced arcadey shooter type of game. Starting with the controls, which had mostly abandoned the slower and tanky control scheme from the first Dino Crisis, where you had to push two different buttons to run and maneuver around, because this time, you're easily able to move your characters back and forth with a D-pad. And also, one of the biggest differences is the ability to run and shoot at the same time, which makes the combat against the many dinosaurs much faster compared to Dino Crisis 1, where we can keep up with all our enemies' movements to a certain extent, with the only drawbacks that we're not able to point up and down manually, but this is mitigated by having our characters auto-lock on enemies by itself. Also, another change is the implementation of the point system and the ability to buy and recharge weapon ammunition, allowing us to go all out during our combat encounters, and not dreading the fact that we may run out of ammo, because this system of being able to recharge our ammunition or buy weapons is complemented by the new combat point system, which has us gain points depending on the amount of dinosaurs we kill in a row, or if we leave a certain area without receiving any damage. There are even times where we get more than 10,000 points in a short span, allowing us to accrue all these points to upgrade our weapons and replenish our ammo. Also, on a quick note, they implemented a main and sub-weapon aspect, allowing us to use a combination of attacks that can take advantage of certain dinosaurs in our path, with one great example is shown here. This also allows us to buy a variety of different weapons as well, with both Regina and Dylan having their own loadouts and specialties. Anyway, so with this newfound way of acquiring almost limitless ammo and different weaponry, it only has to be complemented with a sheer number of dinosaurs that have to be fought throughout the game, ranging from the many velociraptors that try to ambush our characters, to the pterodactyls. But of course, Dino Crisis has to have the T-Rex encounter to complete this game, where we fight it a couple of times, with one occasion where we have to use a tank where we try to get away from it, changing up the gameplay style completely.
Okay, I got a big surprise for you.
Which this only is one of the several occasions that this game implemented a different action-based style of gameplay, because we had a chance to play a real shooter portion when treading through water, or when we're driving away from the Triceratops. We also get a chance to protect one of our characters from being attacked in certain occasions, but with all these small implements of the first-person real shooting segments, it still felt consistent with the overall theme of gameplay for this title, which I can truly appreciate this aspect, because Dino Crisis 2 didn't shy away from what it truly is, which is a fast-paced arcade shooter. It didn't try to implement the survival horror aspect of the first Dino Crisis, but instead immersed itself with a newfound gameplay style and making it the best possible arcade shooter it can be. Maybe Resident Evil 6 could have taken notes in terms of picking a gameplay style and theme from this game, because I felt that RE6 tried to do many things at once, but didn't excel much in those aspects, becoming the literal term of jack of all trades, but master of none. So with Dino Crisis 2 implementing this faster style of play, it gave us players an easy to pick up shooter that we can all enjoy. Also, I want to mention that there was even a segment of the game where we were completely underwater, where we didn't have the faster movements, but still retained the shooter aspect with the mini monstersaurs coming at us over and over. Anyways, I also want to mention that this game forgoes the 3D aspect of graphic fidelity from the first game and went back to the pre-rendered background that we got used to from the earlier Resident Evil titles, which to me was a welcome back to what I was used to at the time, so I had no quarrels about the lack of depth perception in this game compared to what we got from Dino Crisis 1, because it really makes me feel like I'm playing Resident Evil but in a very fast-paced shooter style. In the end, Dino Crisis 2 was my favorite in the series, but some fans may argue that the first game was the best, which I can completely understand, because I truly appreciate them changing things up, but doing it in a way that wasn't half-baked and fully immersed itself in what it truly wanted to be, because it didn't want to be a jack of all trades game by implementing the survival horror aspect of its predecessors, but instead knew its identity and took off from there. Anyways, do you guys agree that Dino Crisis 2 did good overall, and which was your favorite part of the game? Please let me know in the comment section down below. Anyways, if you guys enjoyed the content, please feel free to hit that notification bell icon so you guys can be alerted when I upload my next video, and also maybe check out my other Dino Crisis video or other content. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching my Dino Crisis 2 retrospective video, and as always, you guys have a great rest of your day, and this is Hey DeVuH, signing out.